you make work and you send it out into the world and you don't really think about the fact people are living with that every day and looking at it. And it's a real privilege to be able to share what I do with other people, and it hopefully brings them joy. I'm Sarah Rickard, I'm a ceramicist, and I work from my workshop in my garden studio, which is in Heathfield in East Sussex. And I make decorative ceramics, mainly to hang on the wall. After school, I studied a foundation in art, which you do different disciplines. So I unexpectedly chose 3D. I hadn't realised that that was something that I really enjoyed. We didn't do much at school, so I thought I'd do fine art or graphics, something like that. But actually, the transferring of 2D into 3D was something that really appealed to me, in particular ceramics. So I studied a degree in ceramics and textiles. We also did wood and metal, but they were my chosen two disciplines. And what I love about it is it's so malleable. There's so many things you can do with it. There's so much variety in terms of form and colour. And there's so much that can go wrong as well, which is always exciting. I'm always inspired by natural forms, plants, flowers, things that grow in my garden, ferns. And I also seem to make a lot of winged beings. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm just drawn to them. I get an idea for a piece, I do lots of drawing around it, which is my favourite part of what I do, really. It's really creative, but I also love the process of physically making the work, which can be quite meditative. But it's always about nature for me, and I always just see it as quite a magical thing. I have done since I was a child, and that hasn't changed. And actually, you know, the more I find out about it, I did A-level biology, and actually, you know, when you boil it down to the cellular level, it's just as magical, it's just as incredible. I'm really interested in folklore and mythology, but particularly, I don't have a particular favourite story, but the ones that I really like and find inspiring are those around animal and human kind of hybrids, if you like, so mermaids, or stories about seals that turn into humans, and even things like witches that turn into hares, that sort of thing, because I think it's those stories that combine the human and animal, which are kind of vehicles for my ideas about humans connecting more with nature, really. And my work tends to be quite seasonal around Christmas time. I think what I like about them is that you know, I'm recreating them over and over again, but just to sort of get the expression on the face is a bit of a challenge sometimes, because you don't want a grumpy dachshund or, you know, schnauzer. I love Christmas. I'm quite glad when it arrives generally, because it's utterly chaotic up to that, really busy with shows, and which I love, but it is quite tiring. So it's quite nice to stop, decorate the house, do my wreath, just enjoy being around friends and family. And I quite like that after the having to be, because I have to be so organised with ceramics, it's all processes, what firings make sense to do when, and drying things out, and just I have to be super organised. So it's quite nice to stop and just not know what day it is, and it doesn't really matter. The lovely thing about making a product is that, you know, you can then pass it on to someone else, and I think it can be such a joyous thing when somebody actually parts with their money. They like something that you've made enough that they want to own it and buy it and have it in their life. And I think sometimes at shows people will come up to me and say, oh, I've bought one of your angels, or whatever it is. And I look at it every day and it really brings me joy, and that's such a lovely thing. And you know, you make work and you send it out into the world and you don't really think about the fact people are living with that every day and looking at it. And it's a real privilege to be able to share what I do with other people, and it hopefully brings them joy.